If you've ever wondered how to tile a shower, well, today's your lucky day, because this is exactly how we do it, start to finish, so that not only does it look good, but it lasts. First things first, waterproofing. Once the pan's in and the drain is installed, everything gets sealed up. As per usual, we're using the Provo waterproofing system, which means we're running a membrane over the pan and then installing our waterproof board on the walls and sealing all those seams and connections. Because this is the part that you don't see later, but it's the part that matters the most. If water gets past this layer, well, nothing else you do really matters. So take your time here and get it right. Now onto the floor. Before we touch a single tile, we're making a full template of the shower pan. We use strips of hardboard around the perimeter and glue them together to build an exact copy of the space. And we're not just outlining the edges, we're also marking out the drain. Because now, instead of guessing where the cuts need to happen, we can lay that template directly over our tile, move it around, adjust the layout, and actually see how everything's going to look before we commit to anything. Once we're happy with it, we trace it out and cut everything in place. So by the time it goes into the shower, it fits exactly how we planned it. No surprises, no weird cuts, just a clean layout from the start. Now it's time to set the floor. We trowel out our thin set and start placing each piece exactly where it goes. And because of that template, everything just drops into place. We'll take our time here, making sure that everything's flat, lined up, and sitting clean around the drain. Because this is one of those spots where small mistakes can cause big problems. We'll also dial in the drain height so that everything ties together properly. And don't worry, once you get the tricky parts around the drain done, it's basically just placing puzzle pieces in one by one until it's finished. At this point, it's time to let the tiles set up, which usually takes around 24 to 48 hours before we can move on to the next step. Once it's set, then we move on to grout. In this case, we're using an epoxy grout, especially important with white. It resists staining, holds its color, and just holds up better over time. Wipe it on, make sure it gets into every joint, and then once it sets up, you can begin wiping off the excess. Once it's completely dry, we clean it off, and now you've got a finished floor. And before we go any further, let's protect it, because you just spent all that time getting it right, and the job's not done yet. So we'll cover it with some floor protection, tape it down, and lock it in place. Now we can work on top of it without worrying about tools, mortar, or foot traffic messing up our hard work. And when it comes off later, it'll look exactly how we left it. Next up, the walls. We're using large format tile here, which means everything gets a little less forgiving. Any small variations will show up fast, so prep and technique matter a bit more. We're applying thin set here to the tile itself and running a scratch coat on the wall to make sure that we're getting proper coverage and adhesion. From there, it's just a controlled pace, setting each tile carefully, checking for level, and making sure everything lines up clean from one piece to the next. We also worked in a corner shelf here, built right into the layout so that it feels like part of the design and not something added after the fact. Once everything's set, we grout the walls, clean everything down, and we start to see the whole space come together. One good thing about using large format tile as opposed to a mosaic or a smaller tile is there's much less grout to fill in at this stage. And if you're using dark grout like we are, that makes a big difference. Now for the final step, and one that a lot of people rush: corners. Grout works great on flat surfaces, but anywhere where two planes meet, you need something that can move, and that's where silicone comes in. We're running a clean, consistent bead along all the transitions in the shower. And this is one of those steps where patience really shows in the final result. Too much, too little, uneven pressure, you'll see that right away. Once the bead's down, we'll hit it with some glass cleaner. That helps reduce surface tension so that when we tool the silicone, it doesn't drag, lift, or stick where it shouldn't. From there, we go in with our tools and we shape it into a clean, even line. Something that looks intentional, not messy or rushed. We're using black silicone on the darker surfaces to keep everything consistent, and a translucent white where the floor meets the wall to soften that transition and help everything blend together. Same process, just a different finish. And again, this is one of those things that you see, so if you rush it here, it shows. Take your time, get it right, and it pulls the whole wall install together. And that's it. Once everything's cured, we'll clean everything up and get a final look at the finished space. From waterproofing, to templating, to setting, to all those final details, every step builds on the last. And if you take your time through each one, you don't just end up with something that looks good, you end up with something that is good.